The series begins with a spatial quake devastating the center of Eurasia. 30 years have passed since the spatial quake, and the ditzy Shido Itsuka and her adopted older brother Shido live in Tengu City, Japan. For the opening ceremony, Shido and Shido make a promise to meet at a diner later that day. As school ends for Shido, a spatial quake alarm sounds throughout the city for the citizens to enter shelter areas immediately. After being unable to contact his sister, Shido uses his GPS to confirm that she is still within the city according to their promise. He leaves the shelter to find her, and in doing so, is outside when the spatial quake occurs and creates a giant crater, thus meeting a spirit armor girl in the center. After a battle between the spirit and the AST unit, those eradicate spirits, where Shido witnesses his popular classmate Origami Tabichi is a part of the AST, he meets the Ratatoskra organization on their airship, the Fraxinus, with Sirius Kodori, the commander, and learn about the spirits. He gets knowledge of his ability that can seal away spirits' powers by making them fall in love with him. Shido progresses to the next phase of his training, putting theory into practice with real individuals. Initially, his mentor Taimi Okamine, aided by Rain Marasame and Kodori, develops an intense infatuation for him. Trying to evade her feelings, Shido crosses paths with Origami. While using her for training purposes, an unintended relationship begins to form. Suddenly, a spatial quake alarm rings out, predicting the arrival of the enigmatic princess spirit at Raisin High School. With the school partially demolished and students evacuated due to the quake, Shido ventures inside to confront the princess. Establishing a connection, he names her Tohka. The AST arrives, attempting to eliminate Tohka from afar through her protective barrier. However, Origami, seeing Tohka with Shido, misinterprets the situation as a hostage scenario due to Shido now being her boyfriend. Engaging Tohka in combat, Origami sustains injuries. The following day, Tohka reappears before Shido amidst the wreckage, ready for their planned outing. Following the incident at Raisin High School, Shido and Tohka are on their date being overseen and supported by the Fraxinus crew. Tohka mistakenly assumes that each variety of food she is consuming at first is a date. Not accustomed to a crowd, when the couple enter the shopping area, she assumes that humanity is launching an all-out attack on her. Origami observes them from the shadows while Shido and Tohka go from a high-priced restaurant to south of the station where they enter an improvised shopping area. Tohka is able to indulge in the foods present to her desire, but notices that Shido does not seem to be having fun. They move on to an arcade that is dominated by crane games. In the course of playing for a prize that has caught Tohka's eye, Tohka inadvertently voices her bond with Shido. They make their way to a cliff edge where Tohka finally notices what a date is and sees why the mecha people want to keep the world that is so kind, fun, and beautiful from getting destroyed. Meanwhile, Origami is given permission to kill her with a single blast, but Shido intercepts Origami's blast. With Shido killed, Tohka furiously attacks a stunned Origami to avenge Shido. Before Tohka can kill Origami, Shido is mysteriously revived with his wounds completely healed and falls from the sky towards Tohka. To prevent the city's destruction by a critical state, Tohka kisses Shido while they glide down to the cliff edge as Tohka's astral dress disappears. Her last request is that Shido take her on a date again, admitting that she's not ready to show her naked side yet. Tohka joins Shido's class, sparking an immediate rivalry with Origami. On a rainy day, Shido encounters Yoshino for the first time while passing through a shrine, unaware of her significance. Viewing her as just another girl, he continues on his way. Meanwhile, at school, Tohka competes with Origami for Shido's attention by making cookies. Upon returning home, Shido discovers that Tohka will be residing with him, her powers sealed by his actions. Kodori explains that this arrangement serves as part of his ongoing training to seal more spirits. A spatial quake alarm interrupts the school day, leading Shido to discover that Yoshino, also known as Hermit, is the cause. To keep Tohka safe, Shido leaves her in a shelter while he heads out to meet Yoshino. Unexpectedly, Tohka follows and witnesses an accidental kiss between Shido and Yoshino. A conflict arises when Tohka takes Yoshino's puppet, refusing to return it, provoking Yoshino to attack before fleeing. Utilizing her angel Sadkiel, Yoshino manages to escape the approaching AST forces, while Origami eyes Yashinon, the puppet dropped by Tohka during the confrontation, after Shido defended her from an attack. Tohka is avoiding Shido due to her feelings about what happened between him and Yoshino. She talks with Rain and receives advice and clarity about what occurred. During this time, Shido helps Yoshino look for her puppet, Yashinon. Yoshino gets hungry while searching, so the two go to Shido's house to eat. It's revealed that Yashinon is Yoshino's friend because he is essentially a hero that is everything Yoshino wants to be. As Shido is getting close to Yoshino, Tohka barges is spouting an apology but misinterprets the situation. Yoshino disappears away, Tohka barges out again, but Shido learns from Kodori that Yashinon is at Origami's place. Origami forcibly makes progress between them when Shido comes over, but as the conversation turns to spirits, she she gets notice of a mission. Yoshino is being targeted by the AST, but Shido plans to save her with Tohka's help. As Tohka acts as a decoy, Shido makes it through Yoshino's barrier with Yoshino to fulfill his promise. With her trust in him established, Shido seals Yoshino's powers. In the last few scenes, it is revealed that the housing for the spirits has been completed so that Tohka and Yoshino may move in. Tohka and Yoshino decides to visit Hot Spring, so Shido makes the arrangement for them to go to Tengu Gokuraku Hot Springs. Perverted Kyohei Kanazuki persuades Kotori to go too, but has been exposed that he has ulterior motives. His punishment is to dig a hole and refill it for the next week. Meanwhile, Ryoko Kuzukabe of the AST is informed that the DEM Corporation is going to send reinforcements. A hot-headed Ryoko also finds out from her member that due to the increase in the spirit's alert level, the group's vacation trip is cancelled. Instead, the AST member will take Ryoko to the hot spring that Shido's going to. Origami, uninterested at first, receives a phone call from Shido where she overhears that he'll be going to the hot spring with Tohka. Reluctantly decides to go as well. While riding in the car, Yoshino is given affectionate attention by Shido, which frustrates Tohka, causing Rina's car and road to be wrecked, forcing them to walk instead. This in turn disrupts the train the AST is riding underground. The AST arrive up the surface unknowingly, going in the same direction as Shido's group on the way to the hot spring. Kotori orders the group to do everything to stop AST in their tracks, pushing a stressed out Ryoko to breaking point, ordering everyone to use full force, turning into an all-out war, using ridiculous and absurd objects in Date-town, from sticky substance to sleeping gas. A stray ordnance causes Yoshino to fly off after the explosion. Shido goes to find Yoshino in the midst of the firefight and is almost killed by Ratatosker's destruct mode. Tohka saves Shido from the attack while overseen by Origami and fellow AST members. Ryoko and her team reaches the hot springs, but due to Yoshino's crying earlier, it has frozen a few members, leading to another disappointment. Kyohei dug up a hot spring that Kotori and the group end up enjoying themselves in. Mana Takamiya is then shown arriving in Japan after the credits. Mana engages in a rigorous 10 versus 1 practice match against Origami's unit, unaware that she would inadvertently reveal herself as Shido's biological sister during the AST's briefing on their previous battle with Hermit. Meanwhile, Kurumi Tokisaki, identified as a spirit, enrolls in Shido's class. While touring the school with Shido, both Origami and Tohka follow, leading to a series of attempts by Shido to engage Kurumi, who reciprocates by trying to get closer to him. Codenamed Nightmare, Kurumi is notorious as the most lethal spirit. After school hours, Kurumi ends the lives of 3 delinquents, catching the attention of Mana, who confronts her. Later, Mana encounters Shido, leading him to bring her to his house. As Mana reveals aspects of her past, a heated exchange erupts between her and Kotori, leaving everyone with more unanswered questions than solutions. The following school day, Shido discovers that Kurumi was supposedly eliminated during her clash with Mana, yet she mysteriously appears at school. Origami takes the opportunity to question Kurumi in seclusion, uncovering Kurumi's pursuit of Shido due to his extended lifespan, revealing deeper motivations behind her actions. Shido extends an invitation to Kurumi but finds himself unwittingly part of a polygamous date when both Tohka and Origami vie for his attention. Unable to refuse any of them without causing heartache for Tohka, suspicion from Origami, or jeopardizing his plans to seal Kurumi, Shido faces a challenging situation. As their dates coincide and venues lie in close proximity, Ratatosk aids Shido by teleporting him between the girls' locations while monitoring their emotional states. Once Shido leaves Kurumi's company, she encounters boys harassing a stray cat and persuades them to let her join in their activities. Ratatosk loses track of Kurumi's whereabouts as Origami and Tohka cross paths. Both declare their search for Shido, and Origami, worried there might be another person involved, hurries away. Shido returns in search of Kurumi but stumbles upon a distressing scene: bloodshed and Kurumi confronting an aggressor. As Kurumi ensnares Shido, poised in a precarious situation, Mana intervenes, donning her CR unit to confront the unfolding turmoil. Mana kills Kurumi and explains everything to Shido. After he is forced away, he avoids Origami and Tohka after running into them because of seeing the death Kurumi caused. Tohka finds out the reason for Shido's behavior and continues her date with him to try to cheer him up. After gaining some insight to Kurumi, the next day Shido declares to Kurumi that he'll save her. Kurumi goes to the school rooftop while encasing the school in her field to dissuade Shido from trying to save her. Mana is confronting Kotori about Ratatosker and attempting to use it as leverage against Kotori so she'll release Shido from the potential danger he's in, while Kurumi is threatening the school and the town. Origami and Tohka are engaging in battles with other copies of Kurumi. Shido convinces Kurumi only for her to be killed by another Kurumi, since she can twist time using. As Tohka and origami show up, it's revealed that the hands in Kurumi's shadow are actually the hands of past versions of herself. Kurumi takes everyone hostage and attempts to blow a spatial quake only for it to be blown away. Kotori appears in her astral dress as the Ifrit flame spirit, explaining the spatial quake cancellation, and fights Kurumi. After a short conversation, Kurumi used one of her skills to make Kotori stay still, create copies of herself, and shoot Kotori a few times. Kotori fell over after Kurumi's last shot, but Kotori's healing skill enables her to not die. Then, the shocked Kurumi sent her copies to kill Shido, but he was pushed away by Kotori and the copies were killed. In the heat of the fight, Kurumi inhibits Kotori, but it only worked for a while. Kotori used her weapon to shoot Kurumi after the frightened Kurumi summoned her copies to shield her. Shido tried to reason with Kotori to not kill Kurumi, but she ignored him, making Shido realize that Kotori is no longer herself. Immediately, he went to stand in front of Kurumi to shield her. After the shot launched, Kotori suddenly regained conscious and deflected the shot. Shido woke up on Fraxinus after dreaming of an event that happened 5 years ago. Being calmed down by rain, he went to see Kotori regarding on her condition. He left in despair to meet Mana and Origami in the hospital. Unable to meet Mana, Shido instead met Origami, who tried to get him closer to herself. Before Shido exited Origami's room in the late evening, she told him of her intent to kill the flame spirit to avenge her parents' death 5 years ago, and that's the reason she joined AST. Shido finds himself pondering the complexities surrounding Kotori's involvement in the incident from 5 years ago, considering the conflicting accounts from both Kotori and Origami regarding the residential fire. With the consensus among Ratatoskura's headquarters personnel that Ocean Park is the ideal date location, Shido undergoes training orchestrated by Rain, involving Tohka and Yoshino, to shop for swimsuits. During the shopping trip, Origami playfully teases Tohka, suggesting her swimsuit is a new anti-spirit equipment piece. She also presses Tohka about Ifrit in an overly polite manner, attempting to extract information. Frustrated by Tohka's lack of useful information, Origami urges Shido to assess her selection of swimsuits. Tohka and Origami turn it into a contest, vying for Shido's attention. Ultimately, Yoshino emerges as the victor. Meanwhile, while reviewing a video of the fire incident, Shido identifies ordinary video noise as a spirit, triggering a series of flashbacks that overwhelm him, leading to a blackout. The following day, Tohka and Yoshino join Shido in an attempt to assist Kotori, allowing her to relax. Witnessing Kotori resorting to medication to cope with her deteriorating mental state, Shido's determination intensifies, prompting him to take Kotori away in private. At the AST base, Origami encounters the DW-029 Annihilator gear, codenamed White Licorice, provided by DM Industries for Mana's use. While conversing with Ryoko, Origami learns indirectly that footage of the clash between Kotori and Kurumi exists. In the final scene, Origami fixates on a frame from the footage, leading her to realize the true identity of Ifrit as Kotori. A frightened Kotori is with Shido at the amusement park riding various roller coasters and attractions on their date. Without communications, Ratatoskura can only monitor with Kyohei making masochistic comments to the opportunity Shido should have taken. While separated, Yoshino tells Tohka what she overheard about Kotori being a spirit and how Shido is trying to seal her powers. Origami steals the white licorice and suddenly attacks Kotori as she is talking to Shido. Kotori changes into her spirit form to fight back, and Origami enters into a rampage, going into a full offensive. Before Kotori strikes a finishing blow, Origami accused her of how she killed her parents, astonishing Kotori long enough for Origami to trap her. Shido intervenes, delaying Origami, but as she is about to fire, Tohka and Yoshino arrive. Tohka strives to stop Origami, but as her ordnance is exploding ever closer to Shido and Kotori, the latter two kiss, effectively sealing Ifrit. Simultaneously, Shido and Kotori remember exactly what happened 5 years ago. Shido pleads with Origami as she reaches the operational limit of white licorice and collapses from exhaustion. Kurumi is seen on a rooftop only commenting this is not enough. Back on Fraxinus, Rain reveals that the real date wasn't necessary as Kotori's affection levels had not wavered since Shido first woke. Kotori returns to fill out reports asking if what Shido said was true. Kotori gets uncharacteristically embarrassed as he confirms his love of her, but Shido finishes saying simply as his sister he receives swift punishment. During the credits, it is shown that white licorice has been returned to the AST while Origami is recovering in hospital under guard. As Shido and Tohka about to kiss, they're interrupted by Ratatoskura and finally Yoshino along with Yoshino simply say to be continued. The moral message within Date Alive emphasizes the significance of understanding and acceptance. Shido's interactions with the spirits highlight the idea that conflicts often arise due to misunderstandings or lack of communication. By empathizing with the spirits and understanding their circumstances, Shido aims to bring about resolutions without resorting to violence. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel because it is very important for the development of the channel.